The stars over the Veleron border were calm that night. The Empire's patrol stations floated quietly, their scanners sweeping the endless dark. Nothing unusual had been detected for weeks, until the signal arrived. At first, it was just a faint pulse. One short sound every 10 seconds. Beep. 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 No message. No coordinates. No signature. Just silence between each echo, like a heartbeat coming from the void. Commander Revan Kale, a man known for his cold discipline, leaned closer to the holographic screen. "Run it again," he ordered. His technician obeyed, fingers tapping nervously on the console. The sound repeated, the same rhythm, the same strange frequency. "It's not from any of our beacons, sir. Not Imperial. Not even from known trade routes. Could be pirate tech," another officer said. Kale shook his head. "Pirates don't hide behind encryption this deep." He stared at the data. The pulse wasn't random. It came from something moving, something large, approaching slowly through the emptiness. For the next few hours, every Imperial sensor focused on the unknown object. No heat signature. No communication. No warp trail. It was as if the ship wasn't alive, just drifting with purpose. When they enhanced the image feed, a faint outline appeared, a massive dark structure gliding through space. Its hull was burnt, marked with old scars, but perfectly shaped. The surface reflected no light, almost like it was swallowing it. "Run a cross-match," Kale said. They did. No record. No match. Nothing in any galactic database. That was impossible. The Empire had mapped almost every known vessel across 5,000 systems. For something to appear out of nowhere meant only one thing: it wasn't supposed to exist. Hours passed. The crew grew tense. Every scan showed the same result. The object was heading straight for the Imperial core. "Try hailing it," Kale ordered. A comm signal pulsed out into the void. No reply. They tried again. Still nothing. "Maybe it's a dead ship," someone suggested. Kale didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the slowly approaching shape. Something about it felt wrong, not just strange but ancient. Then, suddenly, the readings changed. The object accelerated. In seconds, it was moving faster than any known cruiser. "Sir, it's heading directly toward our patrol fleet." "Get me visual," Kale shouted. The screen flickered, showing a distant view from the scout ship Varen. The black shape loomed larger now, silent, smooth, and cold. The scout's captain tried again to make contact. "Unidentified vessel. This is the Imperial Navy. Identify yourself or..." The transmission cut off mid-sentence. Static filled the control room. "Signal lost," said the technician. "Try again." "I can't, sir. It's gone." Kale stood frozen. The Varen had been there 1 second. Gone the next. No explosion, no debris, no light. Just silence. "Sir," whispered the communications officer, "it vanished from every scanner, and now it's behind us." The bridge filled with alarms. The mysterious ship had somehow moved, instantly, to the far side of the Imperial line. Its power readings were rising, but still no weapons detected. "What kind of ship is that?" someone gasped. Kale didn't answer. His mind was racing. How did something that big move that fast? And why was it completely silent? He watched as the black structure glided past the patrols, ignoring every attempt to stop it. Fighter wings approached it from all sides, weapons locked. "Fire warning shots," Kale commanded. The fighters launched plasma rounds across the warship's path. None hit. Every shot curved slightly off course, as if space itself bent around the unknown vessel. Then the pulse came again. Beep. 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 This time, the sound was louder. And for the first time, the signal contained words. A small line of text flashed across Kale's screen. "We are coming home." The bridge went silent. No one moved. "Coming home," Kale repeated under his breath. "Could it be human?" one officer whispered. That word sent a chill through the room. Humanity was a myth, a story from the old war, thousands of years ago. The Empire claimed that humans destroyed themselves long before the current age began. But the signal said otherwise. Kale quickly opened a secure channel to Fleet Command. "This is Commander Kale of Border Station 9. We've detected an unidentified warship of unknown origin. It's not responding to communication, and it just destroyed one of our scouts without firing a single shot. Sending coordinates now." Static answered him. The transmission refused to send. Every system, communication, navigation, power, flickered for a moment. Then the station's lights dimmed. "Sir, something's draining our power," said the engineer. "From where?" "From it. It's pulling energy directly through the field." The main screen blinked again. The black ship filled the view. Closer now, massive beyond measure. Kale's heart pounded. "All batteries on standby," he shouted. "If it enters range, open fire." But before the weapons could charge, everything stopped. The screens went black. The alarms went silent. Even the stars outside vanished. The only thing left was that single steady pulse. Beep, beep, beep. When power returned moments later, the ship was gone. The crew stared at the void where it had been. No wreckage. No trace. Nothing. But every sensor in the system now showed the same reading. The object was moving again, heading deeper into Imperial space. And it wasn't slowing down. The Imperial capital of Velaron Prime had not known fear in centuries. It was the center of order, the heart of the Empire, a world built on power and pride. But today, the halls of command were filled with chaos. Every display across the High Council chamber showed the same message. Unidentified warship approaching. Origin. Unknown. Path. Direct to core. Admiral Varkon Trell, head of the Imperial defense grid, slammed his metal fist against the table. How can one ship cross 3 sectors without being stopped? No one answered. The officers sitting around him avoided his eyes. Reports kept flooding in, patrols lost contact, sensor relays burned out, scout fleets vanished. Every time the mysterious ship entered a system, communications went dark, and nothing returned. The Emperor's voice came through the comm screen, calm but sharp. "Admiral Trell, contain this threat before it reaches the core. The people are panicking." Trell bowed his head. "Yes, Your Majesty. But this vessel doesn't behave like anything we've seen. No signal, no weapon traces, no heat trail. It doesn't exist on our sensors until it's already too close." "Then stop it with force," the Emperor replied coldly. "I don't care what it is. Destroy it." The connection ended. Silence filled the chamber. At the military command center orbiting Velaron Prime, officers ran between consoles as red alerts filled the air. Trell watched as the tactical display updated again. The unknown warship had just passed Sector 41. That meant it had already wiped out 2 border stations and a full recon fleet in less than a day. "How many ships were in that fleet?" he asked. 73, sir." "And casualties?" The young officer's hands shook. "All of them." The Admiral's jaw tightened. This couldn't be real. 1 ship, against 73 Imperial warships, and not even a single distress signal? He turned to his staff. "Send out the 3rd defensive line. Lock down every jump gate. Nothing gets through." Hours later, across the capital world, the population watched the skies. The Empire's news networks tried to calm them, calling it a border disturbance. But rumors spread faster than light. They said the ship was alive. They said it had no crew. They said it whispered through static voices from the past. In the research section of the Imperial Archives, Dr. Lyra Mendel studied the faint signal recording sent from Commander Kale's last transmission. She replayed the data over and over, that same slow pulse. Her fingers moved across ancient translation codes. When she cleaned the static, she heard it clearly. A voice. Human. Rough, distant, but unmistakably human. "We are coming home." Her blood ran cold. It couldn't be possible. Humans had vanished from the galaxy 20,000 years ago, wiped out during the Old Dominion Wars. She sent an emergency request to the Council, but no one answered. To them, she was just an old historian with dead theories. Meanwhile, Admiral Trell's fleet reached Sector 39, the next in the warship's path. The Imperial fleet spread across space, hundreds of ships ready for battle. The silent object was now visible, approaching slowly. "Open a channel," Trell ordered. "This is Admiral Varkon Trell of the Imperial Navy. Identify yourself." No response. Again and again they tried. Nothing. "Power all cannons. Prepare to fire." But before the order could be completed, every ship system blinked off. Weapons, shields, engines, all dead. Darkness filled the fleet. Then, through the blackness, the mysterious ship glided past. No noise, no flash, just motion. One by one, Imperial ships began to break apart, silently, torn to fragments by unseen force. The command center on Velaron Prime watched helplessly as their feed went blank. "Admiral, we've lost contact with the entire fleet," said the communications officer. "Get them back." "I can't, sir, they're gone." Panic spread across the Empire. Trade routes shut down. Border worlds stopped transmitting. Every channel screamed one word: Ghost ship. The High Council met again, their voices trembling. "This is a new weapon," one said. "Maybe from the Zora T Confederation." "No," said another. "No empire has this power. It's something older." They turned to Dr. Lyra's message, which finally reached them. In her calm voice, she said, "It's not alien. It's human." The council laughed nervously. "Impossible," one said. "The human species is extinct," said another. But then, the data appeared on screen, the same pulse pattern recorded from a 20,000-year-old human war beacon. The match was exact. The laughter stopped. No one spoke for a long moment. "Admiral," the Emperor said through the royal channel, "I don't care what it is. The Empire cannot look weak. Prepare the 7th Fleet. Destroy that ship." Trell hesitated. "Your Majesty, our fleets. Do not argue. You will end this." The order was final. Far beyond the core, the silent warship continued its approach. No banners. No transmissions. No light. Its hull bore faded markings in an ancient language no one had spoken in millennia. As it glided through the ruins of the destroyed fleet, pieces of broken Imperial ships turned slowly, reflecting ghostly light across its surface. Its pulse echoed once more. Beep, beep, beep. Inside the Imperial Command Center, Admiral Trell's final report appeared on the main screen. "We can't track it. We can't stop it. It's coming for us." Across the Empire, fear spread like wildfire. The people of Velaron Prime looked up at the night sky, whispering prayers to gods they no longer believed in. And at the edge of the star system, sensors lit up again. The warship had just entered the outer ring of the core. The countdown to impact had begun. And still, it made no sound. 3 days had passed since the 7th Fleet vanished. No survivors. No wreckage. Only silence drifting through space where thousands of Imperial warships once stood. In the capital city of Velaron Prime, the mood was heavy. The Emperor hadn't spoken publicly since the disaster. Every citizen could feel it. Fear was spreading faster than light. The empire that ruled half the galaxy was now haunted by a single, silent ship. Deep within the Imperial Science Division, Dr. Lyra Mendel sat alone in her lab, staring at holographic debris scans sent from the destroyed sectors. The Empire had recovered a few fragments from the battle. Twisted metal, scorched plating, and melted circuits. But inside one of those fragments, she found something impossible. A symbol. It was faint, almost erased by time, but she recognized it instantly. A symbol of a human star surrounded by 12 smaller dots. It matched the old record she had studied all her life, the mark of the human Dominion fleet. She leaned back in shock. "It's true," she whispered. "It really is them." Lyra ran through the marble halls of the council tower, clutching her datapad. She burst into the council chamber, interrupting the meeting of admirals and high ministers. "You need to see this," she shouted. The room fell silent as her display flickered to life, the hologram of the old human symbol rotating slowly above the table. "This mark was found on debris from the destroyed fleets," Lyra said breathlessly. "It's human. It belongs to a ship class lost 20,000 years ago, during the fall of the human Dominion." The admirals exchanged uncertain looks. "Impossible," said Admiral Varkon Trell. "The humans destroyed themselves." Their fleets were wiped out before our empire even rose. Lyra shook her head. No. One ship was never confirmed destroyed. The records were sealed by the early founders of the empire. Its name was the ISS Silent Rain. At that name, even the Emperor's representative looked uneasy. The Silent Rain was legend, a ghost story told among space crews. A dreadnought so powerful it could silence entire worlds. A ship that vanished at the end of the war, never to be seen again. And now it had returned. Where is it now? Asked Trell. Lyra brought up a star map. The ship's path was clear, cutting through system after system, each one falling silent minutes after contact. It's heading straight for the capital, she said quietly. Nothing can stop it. The room filled with arguments, orders to build defense grids, to call emergency evacuations, to hide the truth from the public. But none of it mattered. Everyone knew, this thing wasn't a normal threat. It was something older. Something angry. On the far edge of the Draylan system, the Imperial listening post Omega Point caught a glimpse of it. The black warship emerged from the darkness like a moving shadow, silent and cold. The post's commander tried to signal it, but the screens began to flicker. Every system failed one after another. Power's dropping, shouted the engineer. It's absorbing our energy. Then the stars outside disappeared, covered by the ship's massive outline. Before the commander could react, the station split apart, silently, effortlessly. Moments later, the station's transmission reached Veleron Prime. Only 1 second of audio before the signal cut off. A whisper. It's watching us. Back in the capital, panic was turning into hysteria. Millions tried to flee to the outer colonies. The Empire imposed martial law, grounding all civilian ships. The Emperor finally appeared on every broadcast, his face pale and strained. My people, he said, the situation is under control. A threat has entered our borders, but the full strength of the Empire stands ready. But his eyes told another story. The Emperor was afraid. In the night sky above Veleron Prime, the Imperial Fleet Command gathered what was left of their forces. The Corps Guard, the most powerful battle group in the Empire. Thousands of ships formed a wall of light, waiting for the intruder. Every weapon was charged, every soldier ready. But when the Silent Rain entered the system, the stars went out. One by one, the ships lost power. Entire cruisers floating dead in space before even firing a shot. A low vibration filled the void, not a sound, but a feeling, deep and heavy. Then came the pulse again. Beep, beep, beep. Each pulse made the ships shudder. And then, through every channel, a voice spoke in perfect Imperial language. Calm, mechanical, ancient. You stand upon graves not your own. The comms filled with screams. The Silent Rain fired once, a beam of lightless energy that tore through the fleet like paper. Seconds later, everything went quiet again. Only drifting wrecks remained. In her lab, Lyra watched the last transmission from the Corps Guard. Tears filled her eyes as the Silent Rain passed through the wreckage, unstoppable. It's not attacking randomly, she whispered. It's following a path. The same route the humans took when they fell. Her assistant looked at her in fear. Then what does it want? Lyra stared at the glowing hologram of the old human symbol. It wants what was taken, she said softly. It's coming home. Across the Empire, the message spread. The Silent Rain wasn't just a ship. It was the ghost of humanity, awakened after 20,000 years. And now, it was almost at their doorstep. The Seventh Fleet's ashes still drifted through the void when the Empire's high command made its next move. Every admiral, every commander, every strategist gathered in the War Council Hall, a room lined with glowing stars and trembling voices. The plan was simple, or desperate. They would meet the Silent Rain head-on before it reached Veleron Prime. Admiral Varkon Trell, scarred and sleepless, stood before the holographic map. 15,000 ships, he said quietly. That's all we have left within striking distance. His officers stared at him in silence. They had all seen the recordings. Fleets vanishing without a sound, entire systems going dark, the black ship gliding through the wreckage like a ghost. But orders were orders. The Emperor had commanded the fleet to fight, no matter the cost. Admiral, said one of the younger captains, what if it's not something we can destroy? Trell didn't look at him. Then we'll learn how to die with discipline. The fleet gathered near the twin moons of Karath, a quiet system chosen for its empty skies and deep gravity wells. Fighters, destroyers, and dreadnoughts filled the stars, their hulls gleaming in formation. From his flagship, the Imperial Valor, Admiral Trell looked out at the vast fleet, a wall of light and steel stretching across the black. All ships, he ordered, stand by for visual confirmation of target. The silence that followed was long and heavy. Then, one by one, the stars began to vanish. Sir, something's blocking our sensors, reported the tactical officer. Get me optical feed, Trell said. The screens flickered. At first, there was only darkness. Then, out of the black void, the shape appeared, the Silent Rain. It wasn't like any ship ever built. Its surface was cracked and ancient, its armor dark as night. The hull looked alive, like shifting shadows ran beneath it. And yet it moved smoothly, gracefully, almost like it was studying the fleet in front of it. Every heart in the fleet froze. Target locked, said the weapons officer, voice shaking. Trell took a slow breath. Fire! The stars exploded with light. Thousands of plasma rounds, missile strikes, and beam cannons roared through space. The combined firepower of the Empire's greatest fleet lit up the system like a sun. But when the light faded, the Silent Rain was still there. Not a scratch. Not a mark. Impossible, whispered the crew. The ship moved forward, slow and silent, until it was surrounded on all sides. Then, suddenly, everything went black. Every engine died. Every weapon shut down. Admiral Trell slammed his fist on the console. Report. Power failure across the fleet. It's draining our cores. Get backups online. Nothing worked. Even the artificial gravity flickered. Then came the sound, that same steady pulse. Beep, beep, beep. The bridge lights turned blood red. And across every comm channel, a voice spoke, calm, cold, and ancient. You should have left us buried. The voice wasn't loud, but it carried through every speaker, every helmet, every ship. The tone was not rage. It was judgment. Outside, the Silent Rain released a burst of white light that rippled silently through space. Every Imperial ship touched by that wave disappeared. Not destroyed, not broken, simply gone. Only drifting fragments and static remained. Inside the Imperial Valor, Admiral Trell watched in horror as entire squadrons blinked out like dying stars. What is it doing? Cried one of the officers. Erasing us, Trell whispered. It's rewriting space itself. He opened a private channel to command. This is Trell. It's not a weapon. It's something else. Something beyond. The transmission cut off. Back on Veleron Prime, the War Council watched the live feed collapse. The screens turned to static one by one. Then, only a single visual remained, a blurred image from the last surviving drone. Through the haze, they saw it, the Silent Rain drifting through the burning debris, unharmed. And then the drone's camera caught something else. Markings glowing faintly on its hull. Words, written in a language long forgotten by the Empire. Dr. Lyra Mendel translated the old letters aloud, her voice shaking. ISS Silent Rain. Human Dominion. The council chamber went silent. Every leader, every officer, every noble finally understood. The myths were true. Humanity was not extinct. They had only been sleeping. In the ruins of the Karath system, the Silent Rain paused. Its scanners swept through the wreckage, gathering fragments, absorbing energy, rebuilding what had been lost. For a brief moment, the ship's surface changed. A faint shimmer like ghostly figures walking within the hull. Human silhouettes, soldiers, engineers, captains, frozen in time. Then the light faded, and the ship continued forward. Back at the Imperial capital, the Emperor rose from his throne, eyes dark with dread. So it's true, he muttered. We built our empire upon their graves. Lyra looked up from the data feed. It's not finished, she said softly. It's following a path, retracing the old human war routes. Each system it passes was once theirs. The Emperor turned slowly toward her. Then where does that path lead? Lyra swallowed hard. To us, she said. To where their home once was, before we erased it. And somewhere in the depths of space, the silent rain pulsed again. The heartbeat of an ancient warship. A reminder that humanity's silence was never surrender, only waiting. 4 hours. The massive ship drifted quietly above the barren moon. Its surface shimmered faintly under the Empire's scanners, but no energy readings came through. It was as if the ship was asleep, or worse, pretending to be. Commander Kareth stood in the Imperial command deck, his eyes locked on the holographic projection. The unknown vessel hung like a dark scar against the void. "Still no response?" he asked coldly. "None, sir," replied his officer. "We've sent 12 encrypted hails and an identification request. It's completely silent." "Then wake it up," Kareth ordered. The Imperial fleet powered up their weapon systems. Dozens of cruisers locked their targeting beams on the mysterious object. The space between them shimmered with energy. "Open fire," Kareth commanded. A storm of plasma bolts, rail slugs, and ion bursts tore across space and slammed into the silent ship. The moon trembled from the impact. Alarms echoed in the Imperial ships as radiation waves rebounded off the hull. But when the smoke cleared, the warship was still there. Unmoved. Untouched. The bridge fell silent. What kind of armor can take that?" the officer whispered, his voice shaking. Kareth stared, unblinking. That wasn't armor. That was something else. Before he could issue another command, the unknown ship moved. Slowly. Gracefully. Its engines didn't flare. There was no visible thrust, no heat. Yet it began to turn, rotating toward the Imperial fleet. Every sensor in the sector went dark. The lights flickered across the Imperial ships. Systems went offline one after another. Kareth's comms officer shouted, "EMP surge! It's jamming every frequency. We're blind." Suddenly, deep vibrations rolled through the fleet's hulls. Then, like a heartbeat, an eerie pulse echoed from the alien ship. Boom, boom, boom. Each pulse carried across space like a low, ancient drum. The warship's black hull began to glow faintly, lines of red light tracing its structure, like veins waking after a long sleep. "Is that a weapon charge?" "No, sir. It looks more like it's waking up," replied the engineer, her voice trembling. Every Imperial officer on deck felt the same chilling thought. It had been asleep, waiting for something to wake it. The pulses grew faster. A deep hum filled the air, shaking consoles and making their bones ache. Then it happened. A ripple of distortion expanded from the ship, tearing through space like a shockwave. The Imperial fleet systems overloaded. Screens burst, shields collapsed, engines sputtered. Half the ships went dark instantly. Kareth shouted, "Power reroute! Keep weapons online!" But it was useless. The unknown ship, massive, silent, alive, unfolded its armor plates like wings. Beneath them were thousands of weapon ports, ancient but functional. The ship transmitted a single signal. Just one. Not a language. Not coordinates. A sound. A deep human voice. Old, metallic, broken, but unmistakably human. Warning, unauthorized presence detected. Every officer froze. The communications officer whispered, "Did it say human?" Kareth's blood turned cold. Impossible. Humanity was wiped out centuries ago. The ship's red lights flared bright, and an energy beam sliced through the darkness. One Imperial cruiser disintegrated instantly. No explosion, just ash and silence. Panic filled the comms. "They're targeting us. Shields down. Engines failing." Kareth tried to order a retreat, but the words never came out. The warship fired again. Another flash. Another vanished ship. One after another, the mighty Imperial fleet fell apart. And still, the ship remained silent, calm, unhurried. Inside the Imperial flagship, Kareth gripped the railing tightly. "That thing, it's not attacking us for defense," he muttered. "It's executing a protocol." The realization hit him hard. The ship wasn't reacting. It was following orders. "Get me every record on old Terran fleets," he barked. "Anything related to sleeper weapons." But before his crew could respond, a final pulse hit the flagship. Consoles burst into sparks. The lights died. In the dark, the commander could still see it. the ship's glowing red core, staring through the viewport like an ancient eye opening after centuries. For the first time, Kareth felt something no Imperial soldier had ever felt before. Fear. The battlefield was silent now. The proud Imperial fleet, 50 ships strong, was reduced to drifting wrecks and burning metal. Only one vessel remained with partial power. The ISS Varanus, under Commander Kareth's command. The dark warship still hovered in the distance, its hull glowing with faint red patterns. No pursuit. No motion. Just quiet. Heavy silence. Kareth stood in the dim light of his damaged bridge, smoke curling from shattered consoles. His crew whispered around him, voices trembling. "Sir, we've lost half the fleet. Communication relays are down. Long-range sensors, gone." Kareth didn't answer. He just stared at the dark ship through the cracked viewport. His eyes followed the strange red lines crawling across its hull like veins of molten metal. Finally, he said softly, "Get me every piece of data from that signal. The one that said, unauthorized presence detected. I want to know where it came from." The ship's intelligence unit, half broken but still functional, began to decode the audio fragment. The crew waited as the machine worked, static echoing through the bridge. Then, a faint human voice played again. "Warning. Human warship Nemesis. Protocol Sigma active. All foreign lifeforms deemed hostile." The room froze. "Human warship?" the officer whispered. "Sir, this can't be possible. The Terrans vanished almost 5,000 years ago." Kareth's voice was low. "Vanished doesn't mean gone." The engineer, her hand shaking, accessed the Imperial archives. A few dusty records flickered to life. "I found something, sir, from the pre-Union wars. It's restricted data." "Show it." A holographic projection appeared, grainy but clear enough to make every officer lean forward. The title read, Project Nemesis, Humanity's Final Deterrent. The engineer read aloud, "Designed for total annihilation. Equipped with adaptive AI, stealth technology, and weapon systems capable of planetary erasure. The Nemesis-class vessels were to remain dormant unless humanity faced extinction." The file continued. After the fall of Earth, remaining human forces sealed their final warships in deep stasis near uninhabited sectors. Coordinates unknown. The projection ended. The crew was silent. "That's it," the comms officer said softly. "So, this thing, it's one of them?" Kareth nodded slowly. "It's not alien. It's human. And we just woke it up." A quiet dread filled the bridge. The lights flickered again as a strange vibration passed through the Varanus. The red glow of the Nemesis pulsed once more, like a heartbeat. Then came another transmission. This time, it wasn't just a voice. It was a message. Identification required. Unauthorized species detected. Initiating cleansing protocol. Every officer jumped to their station. "Sir, it's locking onto us again. Shields at 30%. Engines failing." Kareth's heart pounded. He realized something terrifying. "It's not communicating with us. It's hunting." The ship's sensors blared. A massive energy buildup was forming inside the Nemesis. But before it fired, something unexpected happened. Another signal cut through the static, old, distorted, but human. "Nemesis, 01, stand down. Command override, Epsilon Prime." The crew froze. Even the Nemesis stopped moving. The glow dimmed. "What was that?" Kareth whispered. The engineer's eyes widened. That came from inside the Nemesis itself. Some kind of old human command frequency. The crew waited, breath held. The dark ship turned slowly, not toward them, but toward open space. Its massive structure unfolded again, engines humming with quiet, ancient power. "It's leaving," one officer said. "But why?" Kareth's expression hardened. "No, it's not leaving. It's answering that command." He turned to his crew. "Follow it. Keep our distance, but I want to know where it's going." The damaged Varanus followed the Nemesis from afar. The warship moved with eerie precision, gliding toward the edge of the system. Every now and then, Its red veins flashed as if it were receiving orders no one else could hear. Hours passed in tense silence. Finally, the engineer spoke. "Sir, I think it's heading toward the galactic core. That's restricted space." Kareth frowned. "Restricted because of the radiation fields." "Or maybe restricted," she said quietly, "because the humans wanted it that way." The realization sank in. The Nemesis wasn't just a ship, it was part of something larger. Something sleeping in the core. Kareth's eyes darkened. "Send a message to Imperial Command. Tell them, humanity left something behind. And it's waking up." Behind them, as they trailed the silent warship, the stars flickered. Strange energy waves rippled across space. Waves the sensors couldn't read, signals the systems couldn't trace. The Nemesis was calling out. And something out there was answering. The Nemesis drifted across the void like a ghost returning home. Behind it, the damaged Imperial cruiser Varanus followed at a safe distance. The wreckage of the destroyed fleet was far behind them now, silent reminders of what happens when arrogance meets something ancient. Commander Kareth stood at the edge of the viewport, watching the stars ahead twist and stretch. The galactic core glowed faintly in the distance, a massive storm of radiation and collapsed suns. No one went there. No one ever returned from it. "Sir," said the communications officer softly, "we've been tracking its course for 6 hours. It's going straight into the core." Kareth didn't look away. "Let it. We'll follow as far as our hull can hold." The Nemesis pulsed again, red light rippling across its dark hull. Every time it glowed, their ship systems flickered, as if something inside that vessel was warping the fabric of space itself. Then suddenly, a sound filled the bridge, a deep, rhythmic hum. "What is that?" the engineer whispered. "Not interference," Kareth said. "That's music." The hum grew clearer, slow, haunting tones that echoed through the metal walls of the Varanus. Ancient human code embedded in sound frequencies. "It's transmitting something," said the comms officer. "A signal, repeating coordinates deeper into the core." Kareth's jaw tightened. "Show me." The coordinates appeared on screen. 7 locations surrounding the core, each marked with strange symbols. Then, one by one, red dots began to appear across the map. "More signals detected," the officer shouted. "Sir, multiple energy readings, massive ones." Outside the viewport, the darkness stirred. From behind swirling clouds of plasma and radiation, shapes began to emerge, enormous silhouettes of other ships. Silent, motionless, ancient. Each one looked different, some like floating fortresses, others shaped like swords or spears, all bearing the same faint red veins of energy as the Nemesis. The engineer whispered, "My God, there are hundreds of them." The Nemesis slowed to a stop at the center of them all. Its hull flared with bright red light, and then it spoke, louder, clearer this time, in that same broken human voice. "Command Protocol Alpha restored. Awakening sequence initiated. Humanity returns." Every ship around it began to glow, awakening one by one. Kareth's crew could only watch, speechless. The void filled with red light as the forgotten fleet of Earth powered up after thousands of years of silence. The old human empire, the one everyone thought destroyed, had left behind an army built to survive eternity. The comms officer broke the silence. "Sir, if these ships are active, the Empire is finished." Kareth didn't respond. He was staring at the Nemesis, his thoughts racing. He remembered the reports, stories of how the Terrans never surrendered, how they'd rather erase their own worlds than let enemies take them. Now he understood. Humanity hadn't died. It had waited. A sudden flash blinded the crew. A new signal broke through, stronger than anything they'd ever recorded. "This is Admiral Juno of the Terran Fleet Command. Identify yourselves." Every head turned toward Kareth. "Did that voice say Admiral?" The officer nodded slowly. "But, sir, that's impossible. That's a living human transmission." Kareth's voice was barely a whisper. "Patch it through." Static filled the speakers, then a woman's calm, commanding tone. "We detect Imperial signatures. You are in restricted space. Withdraw immediately, or face termination. This system belongs to the human continuum." The crew looked to their commander, waiting. Kareth stood frozen. The Empire had conquered half the galaxy. Yet here they stood, before the last remnant of the one species they could never destroy. He took a deep breath. Send message back. Tell them. He paused, eyes dark. The Empire didn't come here to fight. We came because we didn't believe you still existed. There was silence on the channel. Then the voice returned, colder now. We never stopped existing. We only stopped trusting. The transmission ended. The Nemesis turned once more, aligning its weapons toward the Empire's space. The entire fleet moved in perfect silence, ready for war. Kareth knew what that meant. Humanity's forgotten fleet wasn't just awake, it was preparing to reclaim the stars. He stared one last time at the glowing red ship, whispering under his breath, "What have we done?" As the Varanus turned to flee, the stars behind them filled with red light. Thousands of Terran warships came alive, their engines roaring for the first time in millennia. And as they moved, a single message echoed across the galaxy, carried on every frequency, every comm channel, every relay. We are humanity. We remember. We are coming home. The Empire had awakened something that should have stayed lost. And now, the galaxy would never be the same again. Scroll Story Summary. The Empire's arrogance led them to a silent warship they couldn't identify. But it wasn't alien. It was human. The Nemesis was one of humanity's ancient superweapons, part of a fleet hidden for millennia. When the Empire tried to destroy it, they unknowingly triggered its awakening, and the awakening of hundreds more like it. The forgotten human fleet rises once more, ready to reclaim the galaxy.